So, meditations. And I feel like this book is long overdue. I lost my copy of it, so I wasn't going to review it until I got a new copy and read through it again. But this is the translation that the guy from the Daily Stoic recommends, so I figured I might as well read this one as well. But I love this book because what it is it's a reflection from probably the most powerful man in the world at the time, and how he framed things in his mind to keep himself sane, to keep himself humble, to keep himself as a benevolent ruler and able to command the Roman legion and also be political and not take advantage of his power. And Marcus Aurelius was somebody that was so beloved that he could walk through the crowds of the people, the slums of Rome, and be able to just walk around without bodyguards. And this was unheard of from the time, and it's even unheard of today. There's some crazy shit that just happened in the news. Like, we don't have to get into it, but it's so rare where a political figure can be so beloved by the people and be so benevolent and be so concise and so just magnificent with their deeds and their life and the way they live. And it's truly insightful to read Meditations and to look at how somebody so powerful can be so humble and have such a great perspective. And some of the principles that I really love is how Marcus Aurelius really frames death. Death is something that a lot of us choose to not rationalize. It's something a lot of us choose to kind of ignore, and we just go through our lives willy-nilly, and we don't really use death for the tool that it is. Like when we think about death, what is death? Death is just the end, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. We can think of it just as, one day I'm going to die, so I need to make the most of the time I have on earth. There's people that have long lives who do nothing, who don't give back to their community, who kind of just exist. And then there's people who live tremendously short lives, and that short life, they leave a great impact. And it's all up to us to do our part, to do as good as we can, to do right by others. And if we do right by others, what else is there to life? And the other thing I really love from this book is the overall principle of you cannot allow the external world to control your internal mechanisms, to control your thoughts, to control your mind. The problems with the world they all spur from the partisanism of our brains. Oh, I lean more Republican, so I have to always vote Republican. And what does this do? This means that I'm going to have to vote for things that I don't necessarily agree with. And when we allow external people to convince us of things, our emotions to convince us of things, our biases or our political leanings to tell us to dictate a certain way, it really prevents you from making the greatest decision, which is always the logical decision. Marcus really hones in on the logos, which is just the logic of the universe, how everything happens for a reason, and how you need to use philosophy, how you need to think through everything, how you need to remain impartial and remain unemotional and always make the best decision based off of logic. Because when you make the best decision and you consistently make the best decision, that is you living in the moment. That is you living in the very essence of the second that we're in right now, the very instance. You don't allow your past emotions to control you. You don't allow the future emotions to control you. You're going to make the best decision no matter what. And that is what this book is all about. And I really suggest reading this book. I'm pretty sure absolutely every single person in the entire world could learn something from this book. It is very insightful, and Stoicism is something that I think if more people started to apply to their lives, if they just started to think rationally, if they just started to understand that the best decision is always made when you're following your gut, when you're following your logic, when you're following your instincts, and when you get all mixed up in your emotions, when you get all mixed up in what other people are telling you, or what other people are telling you to do, or how other people will view you because of this decision, that's when you're going to start to sacrifice the outcome for how others view you, and that is never a way to do it. It is always better to be authentic and hated than loved for somebody who you just aren't. And I think this book really encapsulates that principle, and it's so interesting to see somebody so powerful yet so insightful and so humble. And the overall purpose of this book was not to have it published. it wasn't so Marcus Aurelius was remembered as one of the most benevolent dictators who ever lived. It was so that he could reframe his mind. It was so that he could think in a way that was always beneficial for his people, instead of benefiting himself, instead of benefiting his ego, instead of saying like, I'm gonna conquer all of the world so I'm remembered throughout history, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, overall, like, Marcus was really just concerned about the good. He was just concerned about the people. He didn't care if his name wasn't remembered, because, let's face it, there's going to be a day and age where nobody knows who William Shakespeare is. There's going to be a day and age where nobody knows who Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant is. Like, Marcus Aurelius understood this fact, and he understood that the only thing that matters is how you act in the present. The only thing that matters is how good of a man you are today, and how good of a man you will be tomorrow, and how you never sacrifice your morals and your ideals for how people will view you, or your emotions at the time, or if you're angry, you're not going to lash out in some brash decision. And it's just, it's a truly great perspective, and it's truly humbling to see somebody with so much power be so great and have such great ideas. And like, it's truly something that I think we all need to ponder, because as we get older in age, as we get more political status, as we get more money, like, your traits are only amplified. Like, people say that like money makes people evil, but it's really just like evil people who accumulate money become evil because they have the ability to exact their wills. And it's like, you always have those unconscious traits. You always have those things that are going to drive you, but when you're given that longer leash, that's when you expose who you really are. And it's crazy to think that we don't do the work on ourselves before we go out into the world and ask the world to give us things, ask the world to give us that promotion, ask the world to give us, oh, I deserve to have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, no, I need to do the work. You need to do the work. We all need to be better. We all need to make the world a better place, and it all starts with yourself. And a great way to go about that is to pick up this book. I'll leave a link in the description. This is a tremendous book. I would say probably top 5 books for everyone to read, because there's just so much wisdom. It's so easily digestible, and it's one of those that's going to make you think, no matter your political leaning, no matter your religious ideology, no matter your level of education. This is a book that everyone and their mother should read. I actually got this book from my mother one time for Christmas. I don't think she read it, but that's aside from the point. Be better than my mom. Come on, just read this book. But yeah. Thank you so much for making this far. I feel like this book is going to hit a different audience, or this video is going to hit a different audience. So if you're new to the channel, I do stuff like this all the time. If you have a book you want me to review, if you have a book you want me to talk through, please recommend it. I feel like I'm kind of in between books right now, so any suggestions for future videos is greatly appreciated. But thank you so much for making this far. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.